Okay, we're on to part 2 of this painting demo. It took about 5-10 minutes for the paint to dry on the canvas, and then now the next part is using either the stencils that we have here for you, or you can use a ruler if you want your letters to go straight across. I find it's easier if you make them staggered like this, then you don't have to worry about it being straight. But if you want it to be straight, we do have some rulers that you can place down, draw a light line with the pencil, and then you can use the stencils to place it on the line and then trace your letters across. Or if you want to do it freehand, you can do it freehand. If you do it with a pencil, it'll be easier to paint over. I started with a pencil and then I went on top of it with a pen. So if you want to bring a pen with you this afternoon, you can use that to trace the letters. Now, depending on the size of your name, what I did was I tried to put my T in the middle of the canvas, and then I did the rest of my name. If you have a longer name, you might want to think about going in a diagonal direction, or putting the letters closer together. I put the Mr. part up here in the corner. I made the little dot myself. This bottom part here, when I'm done, I could get one of the paws that Mr. Gary cut out for us, and you can do a part of a paw here, another part up here in the corner. Now, this part's going to take a while, depending on how perfect you want your paint to be inside the letters. So we do have some smaller brushes like this, and we're going to have to share, so each person can probably have one. And I'm using the same plate that I was using to use for the background because these two colors I might be able to use again to go around the letters, or if I mess up something I can cover it up. And then I just put a quarter size amount of orange, because that's going to be the color I'm going to put on top of this for the letters. And I'm just going to start off here really quick. Now make sure you get the brush onto the paint on the brush, and when you have the paint on there, you want to make sure the brush looks like the point of a pencil. Okay? And then you can start inside any letter you want. Don't worry if you go outside these letters, because at the end we can take a black Sharpie and trace around all these letters, and you won't even see the paint that comes on the outside. So then we're going to go ahead and start here. And I'm not going to do every single letter, but... And don't worry about going outside the line. If the paint doesn't look smooth, it's okay. Now just do the main parts of the letters. Don't worry about these little tips right here of the letters, if you're using the stencils, because you can always go back in there later, put some paint on the tip of the brush, and fill those little areas. And it's okay if you go outside. And right here. Okay, now that doesn't look that good right now because the paint's kind of see-through, it's kind of transparent, I can still see the green, and that's okay, that's a base color. Now you just let that dry, and while that first part of that letter is drying, just move on to the next one. Even if you don't have all the spaces filled in yet, it's okay. Do your best to follow along inside the letter if you can, and if you go out, no big deal. Again, a black Sharpie at the end of this, at the end of the day or tomorrow morning, you take a black Sharpie or whatever color you want, and you just trace around all your letters, and you'll be able to hide all these little imperfections that you might see when you're filling in the letters. To get those little tiny areas around the letters, you want to put a little tiny paint, a little amount of paint on the tip of your brush, and then that's how you get those little areas right there. Okay. Now again, this one is not. It's not dry yet. I can still see the little bit of green behind it, but I'm going to keep moving on and keep filling in my letters. Now this one, still a little wet. So the idea is, and if you wanted to, you could connect these stencils here where it has the R, or here with the D. You still can. I'm going to go ahead and show you. If you want to, you can connect these stencils like that. And the same thing you would do with the O2. You could go like this and connect the O like that. Okay? And don't worry about going outside the line. It's okay. And don't keep putting paint on top and on top and on top of that same letter. Let it dry, move on, keep going, and then go back. All right? Don't just keep plastering paint on top of that same letter. Just put your base color, move on, move on, move on, and you go back and do a second coat on top of the letter. And that way you can get more into the little corners and stuff. Okay, I hope that helps you to start off with, and I'll see you this afternoon.